Sports has been an integral part of the journey of my life. Big Joe, welcome you to the Big Joe Corner. We get to discuss another topic here. As far as I remember, I think from age 6 or 7, sports has been that. But very few people, especially those that I've interfaced or interacted with, actually remember that I have a serious corporate life that I've lived for so many years. Currently working here at the Uganda Communications Commission as the head of department for Consumer Affairs Department. Before that, I had a stint with the Civil Aviation Authority where I ran through the levels to the rank of Principal Air Transport Officer. Before that, I'd started in the insurance industry. But many times that seems to count for the lesser part of it. I'm more identified with the sports world, which is quite interesting. I've had scenarios where I walk into a serious corporate meeting, either here or internationally, and the first thing you get is a greeting as being identified as a sports person. So you're like, okay, no, I'm here in my other capacity. So that's the interesting part of my life, and I really don't mind it because one, it's given me lessons. Sports has given me opportunities, but I've also gotten lessons which I've learned from sports that I've applied in the corporate world. I've also got lessons that I've learned from the corporate world that I've applied in my different roles in the sports world. But to put it into perspective, here in this part of the world, in Uganda, in Africa, or in our region, you need both. Our sports is basically at amateur level, to the point that if you need that passion, you need to take care of it, you need to satisfy it, but also you need to survive, especially when you grow up to a certain level where you need to find a living. You need to be in the corporate world, and our education system has trained us that you go through the levels, go to university, get education, and get a job. But my fear is that time is running out, and we'll need to start listening more to what our talents that God gave us. Could be a sports talent, it could be other artistic talents, it could be in many other fields out there. So it's no longer really necessary for us to peg ourselves on what the corporate world can give us, but also listen out to our talents out there. Now, the corporate world and the sports world, these two are interdependent. They're interdependent. I'll limit myself to where we are in our country, Uganda here. One, our sports is, like I said earlier, is amateur sports. And because of that, the corporate world has a role to play in supporting the direction that the sports world takes in terms of sponsorship, in terms of availing opportunities, and in terms of recognizing the people who star, the people who come through, who shine, and maybe give them considerations. You've seen scholarships, you have seen prominent sports people being given jobs. I have a job here. I know somebody in UNRWA. I know people in the breweries. They get jobs because of what they do. They shine through the sports world. In terms of what can the corporate world benefit from the sports world, it is that thing that everybody should participate in sports actively. You run, you kick a ball, you jump, you jog, you walk, play racket games. In there, you're recreating yourself. You're freshening your brain. You're clearing the stress away. And then when you come to sit at your desk, you perform better because you're refreshed and you're created. For me, that's the interdependence we get from the two. The sports world, once you actively perform in it, it will support the corporate function in terms of performance. Because we have amateur sports, the corporate function also supports by availing resources to the development of sports in this world. But that notwithstanding, we're not going to get stuck there. The country is moving forward, the world is moving forward. We're going to a part where it's no longer going to be purely amateur sports. We're already transitioning to something close to semi-professionalism and eventually end up in professionalism. Then we can think about identifying talent early and nurturing it and allowing people to make a living out of their talents. That's what professionalism is all about. So I still think there's a strong relationship between the corporate world, and we need it because we're still at amateur level. But 5, 10, 15 years from today, I think we need to allow our children, we need to allow the people we nurture that depend on us, even our children, we need to train them to listen to their bodies, see what God gifted them with, and make a living out of it. As opposed to the traditional way where you sit through the classrooms, go through, get a university education in some course that can hardly be applied in the realities of this world, in a course that will drive you to seek a desk job like mine here, which you won't find easily. Yet God gave you talent. you have a talent you can nurture and get out of. So I think it's a good lesson for me. There's a good relationship. It's an interdependent relationship, and who has benefited better from this relationship between sports and the corporate world than myself? I have benefited from both the corporate world. I've benefited from the sports world. It's given me identity. This side is given me a living. So those two nurtured together, I think I've gotten the best of a combination. But thank you, Sportus Africa. Big Joe Corner owes you big time. You're the best in Africa.